I am Shanze Munir, Product Marketing Manager here at Griffin, and we are here with Ian Wheeler, CEO of Income Group. At Griffin, we recently announced our partnership with Income Group to power embedded savings accounts in their IG Send app. These accounts will be introduced into the employee payroll experience, allowing employees to save directly from their salaries. Income Group have been powering salary advances and early wage access products for employers in the UK since 2017. Their platform allows employers to make payments 24/7, 365 days a year, and gives employees access to their earned wages immediately without having to wait for the monthly payment cycle. So Ian, we are here today to chat about the vision behind the company and the reason behind adding savings accounts to your product, and how you believe these accounts will help them continue to drive financial access and drive employee well-being. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, first of all, Shanze and Griffin. It's great to be here. So the vision behind the company has remained, despite that length of time, 2017, and the period of time we had it there was the COVID pandemic and so on. So the vision is pretty clear for us, is that we want to make everyday pay, or pay as we know it, better for people and for businesses. And the reason why is to strengthen the relationship that companies, employees have with one another, and to deliver that through positive engagement and experiences. So when we looked at how we would do that, understanding why we would do it, it was pretty obvious that people today don't need necessarily their salary every day, but having availability or access to a piece of their salary at a point in time where they might need it would be hugely beneficial. The one thing that we do encourage, and we're delighted to have done the partnership and integrations with Griffin, is we encourage employees to think about how they grow their money and how they manage their money. That leads us to your savings accounts that we have embedded in our program and our platform, and we encourage employees to take the salaries that they've earned and to put that into a savings account to grow for whatever it is that they want to plan to do, whether it's purchasing a property or purchasing a car or whatever it is. It helps them manage their money. So that's the vision, and that's how we've realised it over the period of time, and that's what we're really committing to now, is making pay better for people and better for companies.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Thank you for sharing. I think a lot of early wage access, it really helps alleviate stress from having to wait for the monthly payment cycle. And it's interesting because some people might see it savings as being a pivot away from that. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on how you think earned wage access and savings accounts go hand in hand in promoting employee well-being.
Yeah, that's a great question. Though I've been asked many times, is early wage or earned wage or on-demand pay, is it a payday loan? No, first of all, it's not a loan, and it's not linked to payday, because it's a salary that's earned and it's made available. The one thing I would say is that with some first versions from different providers of the proper product offering, there are some things that needed to be changed with that particular product offering. So the first things first is there's got to be responsibility around what you make available to the person. So it would be wrong to provide 100% of the net pay, because that would leave maybe less for the person at the end of the month to cover major bills. So the right way is to provide a percentage of that. So we're seeing companies that are advancing anywhere between 20 to 30% of the net pay in a month, so that the employee person has the majority of their pay at the end of the month. So that's the first thing. Where we see it lending itself to the savings element is that it's an interesting, again, conversation that we're having with employees, on asking their feedback on how the product works and why they use it. And the interesting thing for me is that when I speak to people, most people have 3 or 4 different bank accounts. So they have one for savings, they have one for their salary, so a salary account to go in. That is where the major marketing bills go out from. They have one to use money that they've disposable income for that month, and then they have one when they travel overseas to use a currency in a different country. So our thinking about this journey is, and again working with Griffin, is how could we simplify that and make that easier for the person, for the employee to manage, and also make it easier for the business, the employer, to provide. So from payroll source, that the funds move into an account, and stage one is that they're available, or a percentage available for the employee to use. Step two is there's a savings account for the employee to move funds into an account and grow. And then the further steps are what we plan for the product on platform in the next step. So that's how we see that working in that rounded way. And just again back to simplifying, making pay work better for employees and employers.
Yeah, and within the early wage access market, it is such a crowded market that do you think that there were any problems you were aiming to solve in particular when you started Income Group?
Short answer, yes. So, I mean, a couple of things really. Again, the first things first, we had the payday loan experience prior to early wage access, and that's why I do understand the question gets asked: is this another payday loan? So the problem we were trying to solve is that you get responsibly as an employer to the employee to provide the employee with access to some of the money that the employee has earned is a good and responsible thing, and it's also a necessary thing. So again, I talk to a lot of employees. A lot of people say once you explain the service, they go, "Well, that's a great thing. Why haven't we got it?" So that was one thing that we wanted to sort of clear up. I think with it, it was created, I think, in some very first versions of early wage access, there's a problem created with the charge to a person to obtain the money. And that still exists, unfortunately, in some providers today. It doesn't with Income Group. So we've solved that problem. So we just think it's wrong to charge the person to access their earnings. We also understand, again, we're a business, so we understand that it might not be possible to always pay completely for a service, but you can come up with ways to make that product available, certainly for far less than what is available in some early wage providers in the market today. So that was another challenge that we were solving. I think then the encouragement to take money and to grow it wasn't necessarily a problem. It was just really to encourage. And then the third thing that we're looking at now, which is in addition, I think, is that as we go into a period where businesses are facing rising costs, is how could we help those organisations that want to provide the benefit but might not necessarily be able to do that from a cost standpoint. So we're looking at ways at how we support them with funds to lend, and we've got some early stage test cases on that, which are pretty positive, and that's something that we're planning on launching in early 25. And that's again providing a better experience for the employer. Again, back to how they pay. So we look at well-being, and again, we don't isolate or specialise and say, well, it's financial or personal. We look at just well-being of person and well-being as the employer, and how can we provide that through our platforms and working with partners like Griffin.
And I think it's an important balance to have employee well-being, but also employer.
Well-being for everyone. Exactly that.
Pivoting away from this topic a bit, so you're providing savings accounts via Griffin, and it would be really interesting to know what your experience has been like working with the Griffin team.
It's terrible. Of course not. I mean, good. So I've known Adam Molson at Griffin. I've known David Jarvis through Adam Molson and Griffin for a reasonable amount of time. And what I like about them and their ethos and how they translate that into the business and with everyone else that you come in is that you've got good products, but you've got good people then to support those products and make those products fit the use case and the requirements that we have. So the partnership, we've been running for, it feels like 2 or 3 years. It's a lot less than that, but I think that gives you the idea is that there's a real connection with one another. So I think you do really understand the value of partnership. So if we can do something to help or vice versa, then you'll do that. And that's really important to us because when we go into a partnership, we like it to be that type of relationship where we can talk about anything. There are moments when things don't go to plan, so you can talk about it and fix it. And there are moments when everything does go to plan and you can celebrate with one another and enjoy that. And that's what we experienced with Griffin. So very, very positive.
Yeah, thank you. Our experience working with Income Group has been...
It's terrible too.
Well, coming back to the payroll industry, it would be interesting to know what you think the future of payroll would be. More importantly, what are the main problems that you see coming up with doing embedded finance or embedded banking for payroll?
Yeah, it's a great question, and it's a view. I think some of the challenges of payroll is, one of the things I've learned in my time working across payments and across technology, but always with payroll flow, is the last thing that the payroll community person want is it's changed for just for the sake of it. So I think the first things first is to come up with some of these innovations that we're bringing now, but trying to normalize them as quickly as we could. So I think that's one challenge that we've got, we haven't solved yet. Clearly, as I say, it's a challenge, but we've got a work in progress, and I think collaboratively we can do that. So we talk to finance, and talk to HR, we talk to payroll professionals, and they've all got different agendas and they've all got different objectives and assets. So we understand how we can work within that remit and that environment and try and help to normalise without making too much of the innovation challenges. So we don't use words like transformative or we're trying to make pay easy for the employer and make it work for the employee. So that's what we're trying to do. So I think that's one thing that we've got to look at. I think that clearly, if you look at the payroll function, there's a lot of challenge all the time around changing to tax structures and other implementations that occur from a PAYE and a government tax standpoint. So I think with those, I think we've got to look at the helping where we can. I think that we can come on to with embedded services. So I think we can support payroll people. I think we can support payroll companies that provide service to businesses. I think we can help them with maybe some of the justifications also for some type of the fees for service. I think we can provide a more of a enriched experience. I think that will help payroll HR overall, because I think if we tackle some of those problems together, some of those challenges that come up together, what we're saying is that we're enriching the offering, bundling different services. So embedded finance, what does that mean? Well, it's savings account and access to salary, combined with all of the great work that payroll and payroll tech does. I think we can work collaboratively to help. So there's some of the things I see coming up, and I was already mentioned, I think businesses will see some headwinds from a cost standpoint, just because of some of the changes that have been applied in recent weeks. And again, so how can we help solve some of those challenges? So businesses are the things that we can provide the service on, but work on or maybe some type of reward basis. So there are things that we are aware of, and we've got capabilities within our remit with our gifts to be able to come up and support businesses, payroll, HR, finance, whatever it is. So we tackle those challenges together and try and win.
Yeah, I think speaking of challenges, it would be interesting to know if you yourself have seen any challenges in getting companies to adopt different ways to approach pay and payroll, and how you think providers such as Griffin can help you in getting your customers to adopt.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I think it's quite an easy one to make, but how Griffin helped me is with the access to savings. So, your strapline is how you can build on, and you are. There you go. So we've built on top of that piece. The other piece I'd add is around the adoption. So you can get various different stats, from anywhere, the internet. One I read the most or believe the most is that 1 in 10 employers have introduced on-demand pay. So that obviously then suggests 90% haven't. And why? And I think, again, if I sort of boil it down, this is just my view, and I'm talking to various different finance, payroll, HR professionals. I think it's one around trust. So how do I know that I can control, the availability of money, as in how much can I control? How can I trust that? It's definitely around visibility. So having a platform that I can see requests come in, not just at the end of the month, but I can see it real time, and having that visibility. And then I think also around it's not a paid for service by the employee, by the person.
Yeah.
I think there's some of the challenges. So I think together, I think we're trying to solve that with ideas around savings. So how can we make that work so that the service does become a paid for service by the employer, but how could we help the employer with some of that cost, given the outlook in terms of potential increases to employer costs going forward? And then I think it's more around, what we're talking about now. I think it's just spreading the word. I think when people understand it, so, they'd say, that's a payday loan, isn't it? You say, no, it's not. And then you explain that you show, you get to the outcome, which is, actually, it's really good, we should use that. And then you're into, okay, how do we do it? So I think together, working on those items, and then communicating it, saying, this is what it is. This is the explanation of it. It's called many different things, but this is actually what it's creating. So one of the series that we're starting in the new year is similar sort of style discussions where we're talking to customers and their employees to say, well, how's it work for you? So you tell us, and they'll provide the real information. And I think from that, that 90% of business will start to look at that and think, actually, this is an employee benefit, and it does make pay better for us, and it does make pay easier and work for employees. So partnership, I think, summarize all of that.
Those are really important points about building awareness, educating the industry on why this is so beneficial. And savings accounts are just one of the ways.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Employees' well-being right now. So do you see embedded banking playing a role? Like, how else do you see that?
How else? Yeah. I mean, again, this is our view and a vision that I've had since the beginning. And I constantly say this, I've said it already, I think today, that to try and make simpler the process of having one account, but being able to segregate that account so it works for you how you want it to work. So I want to save, I want to pay the bills I've got to pay, I want to be able to use it when I travel and have flexibility, and then I want to be able to use it when I want to go and treat myself or do something that I want to go and do. So I definitely think as we build the relationship and the partnership, we'll be utilising other Griffin products and bringing that into our product. to say, look, this is how we can then tackle some of these things. And as you said, back to, does that make the experience better for you? If it does, then great. That's hopefully helping your well-being, and that's what we're trying to do. It sounds a bit maybe rosy-coloured glasses or maybe sycophantic. None of those things. I think it's just we're committed to try and doing that. And there are lots of good stories and lots of good things that do play that now. But there are challenges, as we've covered off, and I think we can work on with other Griffin products to make that embedded finance.
Yeah, and we're super excited to see what the future holds and all the different ways that we can work together. So I think the last thing that I have is, just from yourself, are there any exciting things coming up for Income?
Definitely. So we're tackling the challenge around currency and then being able to pay that overseas. So we're going to be launching in our application the ability to buy foreign currency and then to pay it into a bank account of choice in the country of choice. And our use case on it actually again is back to employee and to payroll. Is we have customers that have employees where they want to send money to family, or they want to send money to friends. So we've got an use case around that. So we will be introducing that in early 25. I mentioned to you also that we're working on how we provide funding to companies that want to introduce earned wage access. Again, we'll be launching a product of that in 2025. So we've got some exciting things, and again, it's all around getting the word out there, education, and trying to come back to, as I keep saying, make the pay work for employers and make the pay simple for employees.
Yep. Thank you so much. That sounds really exciting, and thank you for joining us today. It was really great to talk to you and learn more about Income Group and how they're working with Griffin to provide savings accounts.
Thanks, Shanze. Appreciate that.